they did it again. You can see here, a whale added millions worth of super unusual SPY puts. And then 15 minutes later, those same puts doubled in their value. You can see with this picture here, it was downside across the board. And if we go to the chart, you can see there was quite a bit of red today. It actually neared negative 1% on the day at one point. And the real interesting thing I want you to pay attention to is this green trend line. You can see the local low that it started back on August 1st of this year. And you can see it's been a very clean uptrend thus far. And as of recently, it's actually retested 3 times. The first time was over here, this little fake breakdown followed by a gap up. And the second retest over here. And then the third retest was today. So going forward, this is going to be super important. Otherwise, if you see an actual breakdown of this and it's unable to reclaim, kind of like it did over here with that failed breakdown day, this is going to fall a lot more, likely down to like 640 off of a breakdown. So very, very key that bulls are able to hold it. And so far they have, but need to make sure that it does hold around this level. It can continue to go up much higher thereafter. Another key level to watch is the 666.30 level. And if you guys have been watching these videos now for a bit, you remember from, I believe it was last week, we had a very significant $11 billion dark pool print right around this 666.30 level. So as of now, it has rejected twice on the daily chart. You can see rejected over here on Wednesday and then today on Thursday. Both times on the daily, it fell below. So going forward, you do want to see a daily close back above this level in order for it to continue a lot higher. Otherwise, bears are in control. And this is a key sell level. So a sign of distribution where you can see a lot more downside off of that. So going to be crucial that bulls can get it back above. Otherwise, you got to be very careful, especially if we fall below roughly 658, because that's below that uptrend line. And below that, you're going to see much more downside to come. So that's kind of the plan here for SPY this week. Now, something else that was super interesting from this week, if I scroll down a bit here on the Twitter account, central banks have been buying a ton of gold. You could see here since 2000 to the 2024 change. And as of today on the chart, we can actually see that gold set another all-time high, which is incredible. And this is up a ridiculous amount in the past year. Like if I go to the daily chart over here, this is a straight up melt up at this point. Absolutely beautiful breakout over here. You can see from this pennant pattern. And then after the pennant broke out, it's just been to the sky, ripping every single day, already at 4,300 per ounce. So insane that it's done this much. And there's actually been some flow to back it. If I go over to Cheddar Flow here, ever since the start of July, you can see July 1st to today on October 16th, it has been 92% calls to only 8% puts. So a ridiculous amount of call orders. You can actually see recently back over here on October 8th, there was a ton of call buying, specifically for the GLD ETF, which follows the price of gold. Millions upon millions of out the money calls for, look at this, end of October expiration. These are printing right now. They were up a ton. All of these were opening orders because the volume is over the existing open interest. So they have been making a ton of money on this. And also something else that reminds me of flow, very similar to this, is Tesla as of recently, which really hasn't been moving in terms of price, but we've been seeing a ridiculous amount of flow on this as of recent. And actually, as of near the end of today, you could see here 3:49 p.m. Eastern, only a couple minutes ago. You can see 3:57 p.m. Eastern. All of these prints hit the tape on Tesla. A couple of these pretty deep in the money ones, but also very far out the money of a 520 strike for the December 19th expiration. This strike has become very popular this week. You can see if I scroll down here, another 520 from 2 days ago, another 520 over here, another 520 over here, all for over $1 million in premium, executed above the ask as well. So there's some intent behind that. So a lot of green across the board here as of recent for Tesla. You can see just from previous days as well, another 520 right here for the 12/19. So again, that December expiration, millions upon millions, even over here for the 440 end of October, 6 million worth of premium. So ridiculous amount of premium, and also aggressiveness. If you look at just the strike alone going into Tesla, if we go over to the chart, honestly, not that much activity in the past couple of weeks, like I mentioned before, but I found an interesting level, and that is this 439.97 level. This is where I'm going to bid over. So if price is able to get above this level, which so far it's been a lot of rejections off of this. That's one of the reasons I derived this pivot, as well as a lot of activity that happened at this level from previous days. If it is able to break out above this level, I'm looking for like an hourly close. Then I'm going to add calls because this is something that can absolutely moon going forward. Just a bunch of rejections off this. If we can get above, that would be beautiful. That's why I said things get fun above that level. I actually think we can see something like 500 this year if it is able to hold above. Ideally, you have something like a weekly close for confirmation, but I'm going to try and bite the bullet and add on the first hourly close above since it's been unable to thus far. So this is the level I'm watching. Set an alert on your chart just because this is very crucial if it is able to break out above. And if it does, at least at the bare minimum, would be a new all-time high, which would be above the 470 level. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on Tesla. The flow certainly backs it. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion, because it is holding the levels up here. Potential for a lot of accumulation in this area if it does decide to break out above this 439.97 level, mainly because this entire area over here would then act as accumulation with a breakout since it's rejected near the top, breakout above here, maybe a retest, and then continuation thereafter. So that's what I'm looking for on Tesla. And then finally, the last thing I want to mention here is Bitcoin. This one has been super volatile lately. If we go to the daily chart over here, you can see it's actually broke a lot of recent supports after we had this very nice move. I haven't moved this arrow at all since it started to fall down from back here, but we had a beautiful bull flag breakout, retest, and then continuation a lot higher. And then it fell off a cliff over here. And you can see a lot of leverage got wiped out on this day. There's actually on other charts, it went down to 103,000 on the wick. But so far, it looks like it's filling out some of that wick. And honestly, I'd say it's now or never for bulls if they want to hold this. Needs to hold above 108,000 in my opinion, which is the previous local low over here. If it's unable to, you're probably going to see under 100,000 happen after that. And that's not my base case. You guys know I've been bullish on this. And actually, I thought it would go a little bit higher than the current 126,000 high. So personally, I'd like to see bulls turn it around this area here for a lot more upside. And honestly, it should be impulsive if they're able to rip it a lot higher. So really watching it very closely, looking at flow like IBIT, the BlackRock ETF, and something like MSTR to see if there is some interest here yet again, because there was a lot of interest when it blew up over here. But then we had that very hard rejection and a lot of those liquidations. So it really is in the bulls' court if they want to take it from here. Otherwise, bears will take over. That would not be fun. Regardless, as always, appreciate you guys watching this video. I'll see you next time.